that design at the
Ladies and gentlemen,
styling the lights.
the Bugatti 110.
We're going to take a proper
But
look at
let me
this in a
introduce
moment.
my colleagues.
Here it is then, the brand new Bugatti 110 that's just been revealed to the world here at the Quail, the first ever chance to see this. And let me show you around towards the back so you can see the view of that and how the design works. But you will instantly spot some of the design elements and cues that come from the EB110, the fixed wing at the rear. We'll talk more about this and actually head over to the EB110s again later on. Those very iconic side intakes. And if I come back round towards the front, have a look down here, that small horseshoe grille, always a Bugatti wearing a horseshoe grille, but in this case much smaller, like on the older car, and also the intakes that you have around the sides of it. But some cues that come from the more modern cars, the Chiron for example, the central spine that you can spot running up and over the top, a completely new wheel design as well for the car, and this car actually also has some upgrades to the engine. It's in fact a little bit more powerful than the Chiron itself with 1600 horsepower. Now it represents one of the three eras of Bugatti's history. If you go back a little bit to the beginning of it all, 110 years ago, Ettore Bugatti founded the company. Many of those older cars you'll be familiar with, the complete classics. Then the more modern era is the Volkswagen era, the Volkswagen Group era. But in the middle was this period when the company was under Romano Artioli, based out of Campo Galliano in Italy, and they had the EB110. And that's what's now being attributed to, and that's what's being brought into Bugatti's history in a much more stronger and striking way, particularly with the launch of this. And remember, the car that we're looking at here is one of only 10 that are going to be produced of these, just 10 at a price tag of 8 million euros plus taxes, plus VAT, depending where it may be. So let me take you around the design then in a little bit more detail. The exterior only of this car, you can see it has very dark tint. It's not showing the interior at this stage, but you've got that horseshoe grille, always on the Bugattis, quite different in the way that it's styled. You've got the Bugatti emblem up there worn above it, rather than in the centre. Either side though, you've got those dual layers of intakes with this extended front splitter. And look at the way that it points down, the sharp edges. But also, look at the air curtains that you have around the side, the way that it's open for airflow to be directed around, and you'll see much more of that as we continue around the sides. Then a little bit higher, you have that central piece of the nose, which I think gives it more a presence up front as well. And then these headlights, look at the narrow slit style headlights that it has, and also the airflow that is guided up and around. And this design of the horizontal plus the line over the top again is something you saw on the EB110s. All of those design cues being integrated into the new car. So as we come around towards the side, of course, it's a very different shape. The EB110 is much more of a wedge, whereas this is based on the engineering platform and the underpinnings of the Bugatti Chiron. So of course, it is a different shape overall, but it integrates more of these cues. Those lower side intakes, again, we referred to those earlier on. You can see this very dark exposed carbon fibre of the lower sections, or airflow opportunities around here, and also the way the car is sitting as well. You've got these wheel arches just emphasised going around the sides of it too. This sharp line that runs up towards the rear. Have a look at the door mirrors as well, even airflow going through the door mirrors. And of course the car has some impressive performance. Maybe we can talk about that quickly. All of this of course is for cooling of the engine that's back here. Unlike other models, you can't see quite so much of it through that very tinted glass, the almost stormtrooper effect of contrast. But you've got the iconic 8-litre quad-turbo W16 engine, in this case 1,600 horsepower, 1,600 newton meters of torque, and a top speed out of this car of 380 kilometers per hour. That's 236 miles per hour.